Fusion trying to get a little bit of back capping going on with Sato, but nothing doing as Saya player finishes him off with the flashbang, and that looks like it's going to be round one after a little bit of cleanup here. Philadelphia Fusion, one last ditch effort here on the point to try to take it back, but with Boombox leading the charge, that is just not going to work out. BQB did get taken out by Carpe, but it seems like it's only a matter of time. They've got the sound barrier, they've got all these ultimates. Self-destruct needs to be big. He did get a hoggle pun, and you know what? Swan fell as well, so as improbable as it is, Philadelphia Fusion manages to somehow grind that one out.
Too aggressive.
Whoa.
From the Florida Mayhem. They thought they had it in the bag, and now they're getting punished, having to reset off the map. Before
Whoops.
that fight, Florida Mayhem, they'd only had one player eliminated on their team that entire control point, and it was one on the Saya player. Switch all the way over to the Winston 3-3 again. They've been forced to reset because of their sloppy play, finishing out that point. Philadelphia Fusion, they didn't quit. They got the picks, and now they're right back in it.
Yep. Got that little ultimate advantage here, but Florida Mayhem has a time advantage. They've got 99% already. All they need to do is win one fight, and they can approach this pretty patiently. Just trying to bide their time right now, looking for Fusion to make some mistakes here. Sato, though, playing it safe. He's got that Primal Rage as well. Sound Barrier was used by Philly. As the fight starts to heat up a little bit, there's Sato with the Primal Rage now, trying to go for BQB, but he does escape. Sato, meanwhile, just trying to avoid people for the moment. 50% for Philadelphia Fusion already. Now it's going to be Swan with his own Primal Rage, takes out EQO. Philadelphia Fusion scrambling here. Boombox down to no health, as is Neptuno. Swan grabs a bit more from the health pack, and Florida Mayhem flips it back. Philadelphia Fusion kept themselves alive, but it looks like it might be Florida in the end, taking this point anyway. Poco drops the self-destruct, but Mayhem not phased. Neptuno keeping it alive. EQO does swap over to the Wrecking Ball, so just doing the deal, and it looks like Florida will take a lead here on Oasis.
I mean, besides that very brief moment of halting the, being a little bit over-aggressive there for the Florida Mayhem as they closed it out, they bounce back very nicely, play a controlled style, and finish it out. So Florida Mayhem already up 1-0 here on Oasis. And Philadelphia Fusion not looking like they're playing with a lot of fight in them. And Saya player really popping off on the McCree.
Well, that's the thing, is that you can tell sometimes with a team when their play starts to look a little bit lethargic, right? Where people start to get scattered out across the map. The cohesion just doesn't seem to be there. And kind of showing that again in this series, a little bit more of what we saw in week one. They got to tighten it up. They want to have a chance of winning this one.
All right, Fusion doing something interesting though. Poco on the Roadhog. So halt, hook combination with Sato's Orisa. EQO back onto the Pharah, and Carpe bringing out one of his signature heroes in the McCree. So Florida Mayhem just on the Winston 3-3.
Yep. Playing it with the safest style they can. Poco, meanwhile, in a lot of trouble here. He gets the hook. Ooh, he can't quite pull him off the edge, though. That's the trick. You hook him, and then you turn right at the edge to try to just drop them, but didn't quite have the angle on that one. Ooh, Swan got really, really low. Can they keep him healed? There's a hook. Onto Zephyr, pulling him in. He gets low as well, but it's going to be Chris who gets the first kill onto Sato. Poco falls as well. Carpe coming back with a bit of revenge onto the Diva, but at the end of the day, it's Florida Mayhem who look like they're going to claim this point first.
Wow, Sato and Poco not on the same page there at all. They were on the opposite side of the point as the rest of their teammates. So tank line easily isolated and picked off. Deadeye coming in. Everybody on the Mayhem gonna hide, but
All
Sato
right.
just rolls in after
why
making
not?
the swap onto the Wrecking Ball. And guess what? Philadelphia just gonna flip it right back.
Yeah, some little switches here. Poco onto the Diva again. So they swap up the tanks and have a little bit more success in that second attack.
Yeah, they need a little bit more mobility there. They realize because they got caught out of position the first time. Carpe now almost at another Deadeye, 80% of the way there. Florida Mayhem be coming back onto the point slowly. Carpe will retake the high ground. And Florida Mayhem, are they going to move up there to try and push people off, or are they just going to try and put pressure on the point? Looks like pressure directly on the point is their method of play.
Apply directly to point. Here we go, Florida Mayhem. Oh, EQO with the barrage. Doesn't find anybody with that, though. Swan does go down in the end, though. Carpe got the finishing blow. So the damage from EQO was enough to set it up. Carpe with another one onto Hagelpunt, going wild on this McCree right now. He gets Chris as well. Poco comes in for a fourth kill, but Philadelphia Fusion defending this push from Mayhem pretty easily.
Solid teamwork between Carpe and EQO. EQO got the initial damage off on the ulting Winston, and then Carpe, he was fortunate enough to have a damage boost and the Orb of Discord on to Swan during that Primal Rage. So easy to pluck out of the sky right there. And that means they can roll up the rest of the fight, 6 versus 5.
Yeah. We've talked about it before too, the clutch factor that Carpe brings to this team. Deadeye coming in now. We'll see if he gets any targets with this one. Remember, it builds a lot faster in this patch. Having to cancel that one there, not finding anybody. Meanwhile, Florida Mayhem trying to flip the point. They've got it nearly all the way there. They do actually flip it. Philadelphia Fusion just allowing it to go over as they try to reposition. Let's see if they can win the ensuing fight, not give up much percentage. No, Sato goes down early. So it's a 6v5 in favor of Florida right now. But EQO coming back in with the barrage, gets Swan, but that's about it. Zephyr took out Carpe. That's about it. Zephyr took out Carpe as well. So now a lot of this is on the shoulders of EQO, but you really cannot retake control points too well with the Vara. You need those tanks to get in there.
Yeah, you do. And BQB is nice and charged up right now. EQO is going to get hooped into the center there. Does manage to roll out just in time.
We're going to see the grab from BQB. He needs some healing first. The way they're just kind of waiting it out, trying not to give the point over. Self-destruct to use. One though. And Florida Mayhem coming out on the worst end of this one at the moment. BQB trying to turn it around though. He's got a lot of charge and he's going to be able to do it. Stop. And Florida Mayhem on the roll. He's not really running, I guess, but yeah.
He's not really on a roll this round either, as it were, but
can't really, it's just indescribable what happened there apparently.
Well, lots of ults now up for the Florida Mayhem. They're going to be feeling very safe with a couple of support ultimates. Meanwhile, Philadelphia Fusion, they're running with nothing right now, and we're in one team fight territory.
Florida Mayhem getting aggressive here with their defense. We saw this on the first point, but this time it's looking like it's going to turn out a bit better. Swan grabs one, and yeah, Philadelphia Fusion, the remaining members just totally separated. Neptuno, he felt the beat there, but it was a different kind of beat. Side player beating him down with the flail. EQO can't get there. Florida Mayhem are going to take Oasis.
All right. Well, that was pretty dominant, actually, from the Florida Mayhem.
Yeah.
So they are looking like they might actually come out on top in this series. Philadelphia Fusion really needs to pull it together because, you know, Florida gave London a decent run for their money. Didn't end up picking up the victory, but they are out to an early lead here against the big favorite in the Fusion.
Strong start for Florida. We'll see if the Philadelphia Fusion can tie things up when we come back. Don't go anywhere.
The Overwatch League is powered by Intel. Game, record, stream without compromise on Intel Core i7. And by Omen by HP, the official PC and display of the Overwatch League.
Welcome back to the Overwatch League. Florida Mayhem taking the win on Oasis 2-0 and looking very dominant in the process too.
Yeah, they look really good, and it's very interesting to see how We look at the London Spitfire and the Philadelphia Fusion, our two Overwatch League finalists, and two teams that were in many ways defined by their star DPS players that were able to get a lot of picks last year, that were able to make big plays. And in a meta that has been so much more about teamwork, neither of these teams has really figured out how to get quite back into that elite status.
Certainly does feel that way. Let's take a look at our maps one more time. Going to Temple of Anubis next for our Assault map. Kings Row for Hybrid, and then Junkertown will be the escort later on. So looking ahead to Assault, I think we're going to see more of those hardpoint compositions that we've been seeing so much in week 1 already. It just seems so good, and funny enough, we had all these Assault maps go to like 5 points, 6 points last stage, and I feel like this time around it's going to be pretty surprising if we go into time bank too often. All
right, sorry to interrupt you, Duo, but some interesting stuff happening right now is that we've got the Symmetra who has actually used a portal to get the Orisa onto the high ground, and Poco will be playing a Torbjorn on this defense.
Okay.
With EQO on the Junkrat. So it will be a hardpoint defense, and it will be a high ground defense. He used to use May.
Yep.
To boost the Orisa up there, but instead it's just going to be a Zen and Orisa right now. Very interesting stuff. Florida Mayhem, how are they going to deal with this? BQB looking like he might be... EQO Saya player. Sometimes that happens with a trap. That's a good first pickoff.
You've activated my trap.
My trap.
It's just a trap. Yeah, it's not a trap card. It's just a trap.
All right, Orisa now down on the low ground. So they have rotated. The Phillies be using that Symmetra portal that they had temporarily. And now, Carpe going to be on the Widowmaker, trying to find some shots early on here. Moira is going to be the play. So they're going to try and rush the point here and out-heal, out-sustain the damage.
Get all that AoE healing, but then again, that's a support that can get dropped pretty easily by a player like Carpe on Widowmaker.
Florida looks really confused. They've already wasted a minute of time without doing really much of anything.
They do indeed, EQO. Ooh, Swan just dove right into everything that explodes, and then he exploded. That's not what Florida wants.
He definitely did explode. There's a turret there on the side, which added a lot of extra damage. They're trying to get rid of the turret right now, and they do succeed. The flank. Infrasight is now up, and we're gorilla hunting here.
That's right.
Carpe.
The lone Swan or Gorilla, take your pick. Swan getting really low already. Has to be careful. That would be tragic if he dies again. Tries to get over to his team right now. Not so lucky. He's trying to loop around the left side, but Carpe's got his number. Meanwhile, on the point, Philadelphia Fusion defending against 5v6. Here comes a Riptire. Can they get away? No. Ooh, they can actually. The shield goes up, and Moira is able to fade out of the way just in time. Doesn't matter though, as Carpe gets the kill on his effort anyway, and there goes Saya player. Philadelphia Fusion just grinding through the Florida Mayhem without too much trouble.
I mean, this is being very well played by Philly.
Yeah.
Right? They really just zoned out. They really just zoned out Swan from that entire engagement. That means they had one fewer tank to actually contest the point, and you need a lot of you need a high HP target there, because if you don't have one, then you're just going to get hit by all of the turret shots as well as the Junkrat grenades, and just die as soon as you try and actually take the point. And Carpe,
oh, there's one.
Just taking people out at the start of these engagements. And Florida seems clueless about what to do to break this hard point.
I mean, he's so bold right now. He's like, yeah, I'm going to show myself. Go ahead and use your movement cooldowns on me. I can just grapple away.
This is a disaster. Carpe are already nearly at another infrasight. Look, they're having to hide behind the rocks by the ship because they can't get anywhere close. And they have very little verticality in this composition.
Going in now, but there's a Molten Core. Poco trying to pave the way with Lava. EQO already gets a kill on the Saya player, so at best, it'll be a 5v6. Some tertiary stuff taken out by Florida, but no players of the Philadelphia Fusion down yet.
Meanwhile, there is Swan in the back trying to pick up a mega health pack right now, but he's going to take him a while to get back to the rest of his team.
Yep, as usual.
Saya player going to be coming in right now. They're trying to use Coalescence to displace EQ on Carpe, and they succeed.
I mean, that can be a good amount of damage and healing if you focus on one place, but Neptuno right there gets the res, no problem. But now Poco down. The tire's going to need to be Neptuno taken out by Swan. So Florida Mayhem, in the end, find a scrappy fight to deliver them point A.
Yeah, finally. Actually, the Coalescence ends up being the play they need from Hagapun, because he sees EQO and Carpe up on the high ground, and he manages to melt EQO in combination with Zephyr's Diva fast enough to get a player advantage in another limb. So just barely in the nick of time, they're going to make it here onto B.
Yeah, a lot of time taken off the clock by Philadelphia. Just 4 minutes remain for point B, and that seems like a lot of time, but usually see teams take point A so fast in the past that 4 minutes seems like you're already kind of rushing the clock here.
Yeah, I'm surprised Neptuno has switched over to the Batiste on this point. He is going to play the high ground platform, as you can see at the top center of your screen right now.
All right, going to get displaced by that self-destruct, though. Luckily, the shield for Sato is up in time. Neptuno's immortality field drops immediately. Now the sound barrier comes in for Florida. Going to try to get aggressive here. They lose Saya player, but they do take out some crucial members of Fusion. BQB, a lot of charge right now. He's doing a decent amount of damage, but still waiting for that grab. I think if you're Florida, you're really happy with this already, though. 1 tick, 2 ticks taken. Philadelphia Fusion scrambling. They need to get back on the point. They need to try to win this fight right now. That grab's so close for BQB. He's going to get it. Immortality field down again. Where's the grab? Used immediately as soon as he gets it. And here comes a self-destruct from Poco. No kills out of that one. Philly loses Boombox, though, in the process. And Florida Mayhem having to take a break as they heal up. They do demech Poco again. Now the grab comes in from the Philly side. Goodbye, Florida. Neptuno able to put that left click to use, man. And that's going to be Philadelphia Fusion holding on, but barely.
And Carpe as well, getting the grab in the nick of time before Hagapun has an opportunity to get the Transcendence online. The rally just not enough to prevent them from going down once Sato starts swinging away, and they get that extra damage. So Philadelphia Fusion, they did give up more than 2 ticks. So Florida Mayhem, like you say, probably going to be feeling pretty good about that initial push with still over 2 minutes remaining to finish out a single tick.
Yeah, Neptuno. You know, you got to start to think about the immortality field from Batiste as sort of like a global taunt against the enemy team, right? Because it makes them turn their fire to a different place, kind of no matter what's going on. They got to pay attention to it. So even if you're not expecting to live that long, that's a really good tool that Batiste are going to get good at using to kind of direct the attention of the enemy team. Now the wall's down, amplification matrix used by Neptuno.
So he's going to wait it out, and they're going to re-engage then with the Transcendence. Got to start using these ultimates. There's no grab from Carpe right now.
Rather, Shatter comes down for Swan. Shielded by Sato, waiting for his own opportunity here. They use that Reinhardt ultimate, caught in the Graviton Surge, though. Sato really low. They lose Neptuno's immortality field. Again, that's going to die pretty quick, but now Swan taken out. Finishing blow comes in from the Batiste again, and Philadelphia Fusion standing strong here on defense, just like they were on A. There goes Hagapun, and it looks like Florida Mayhem sent packing once again.
Yeah, they are going to look likely to get this hold here, just given the ult economy. Florida Mayhem, they decided to play the poking game. They decided to wait out the amplification matrix instead of going in with the Transcendence, and I think that bought Philadelphia Fusion enough time to get Boombox's trance up and available. Carpe still has that Graviton Surge. Florida Mayhem gonna have to try and deal with it with a sound barrier, but it might be a bit of a trick. They see Carpe lurking in the corner.
Yeah, he was waiting for a chance to do that sneaky grab when they came around, but Florida not falling for it. That said, Carpe does drop the grab anyway, trapping them on the bridge. The kills come in. Sound barrier a little bit too late to save Hagapun. And now Florida Mayhem having to try to fight this 5v6, and this is going to be their last fight, man. Chris and Swan down. They can scramble to get back to the point. You can see they're trying to reset as fast as they can right now, but any kills here, basically at the end of the game, and that Saya player going down, he's going to barely be back in time for maybe one last desperate push.
I mean, Florida wasted both of their available support ults. They had a chance, I think, just to wipe there and get one more attack in that wasn't going to be quite so rushed with a full 6 ult sweep, but we're not going to see that this time. Very aggressive Graviton.
Yeah, that's right. Trying to take him out early. They do get Neptuno with the self-destruct, so maybe a chance here for... Oh, they got it. Wow, talk about being a bit too aggressive. Now it's Philly that gets a bit too aggro at the end of their defense, and they might have handed this one over to Florida. Sato down. They got it. They only needed that 1 tick.
Wow.
That's gotta hurt if you're Philly.
We've seen some undisciplined Overwatch, I think, from both of these teams today. Florida Mayhem in our first map, and now Philadelphia Fusion on that defense. They were playing very far forward, getting caught by that Graviton Surge. Probably thought they were safe because they had a Transcendence available to them, but the self-destruct came in from the back.
And we're going to take a quick break. When we come back, Philly on the attack.
Coca-Cola is the official refreshment of the Overwatch League.
back. Philadelphia Fusion, they nearly had that defense locked up, but then they played the game of throws. You play the game of throws, you pretty much just die in Overwatch.
Yeah, you just die.
There's no winning. Yep.
You know, interestingly, about that entire push, Florida Mayhem only got 12 eliminations to Philadelphia's 27.
Wow.
But they still finished the map.
Hey, that's what happens. I mean, because you can be that tight team defensively and only screw up once, and that one time is going to be enough to give your opponents the win anyway.
Yeah, but when you have that much of an advantage, we're talking more than 2-1 in eliminations, you probably shouldn't be giving up objectives. I mean, their other defense on A was quite tight up until the very end where they scattered around the point as well. And now we are going to see BQB coming out on the Bastion. So it will be a bunker composition. Hagapun with the Batiste, so trying to power up the shots. And of course, Saya player, who is always exciting to watch on the Widowmaker.
Yeah, we'll see what he can get done. Philadelphia Fusion on the attack. They're going to maybe run Poco on that Sombra. It might just be some scouting. I'm kind of guessing more than anything. It's going to be Carpe over on the Hanzo, EQO on the Pharah. Poco staying on the Sombra for now.
And Carpe, a consummate Hanzo player throughout his career.
Yeah.
Saw a lot of it in the playoffs last year. He's coming back with one of his most deadly options here for the Philadelphia Fusion, and also one where that Dragon Strike can easily break the bunker.
Poco trying to dislodge Saya player from the high ground. He's successful in doing that, at least from that high ground. Oh, and now Sato on the other side, trying to keep the Widowmaker pinned down. I like this sort of pincher maneuver from Philadelphia so far.
Yep, they've cleared out the high grounds on both sides of the point, so this is a very good strategy here from Philadelphia. Not giving Saya player any sight lines here, and there's Sato popping up.
Yeah, that's right. They tracked him down, and now they've got the 6v5 they were looking for. Can they keep it up, though? We'll see. Philadelphia Fusion has kind of pushed Florida in that little room. Carpe does find the kill onto Zephyr. Minefield going down really fast already, or not really. It sounded like it. It was just a squeaking hamster, that's all. Zephyr gets rezzed. Poco as well. Philadelphia Fusion kind of buying their time, but now BQB is down, and with the Bastion out of the way, Florida might have, or Philadelphia rather, might have a good opportunity, but then they lose Sato, so what can you say?
I mean, this is, wow.
Oh,
I mean, Saya player making some plays here as he's coming back. Carpe is still behind him. Carpe has Dragon Strike available to him now. Valkyrie has been used.
Yep.
Lots of ults there for the Philadelphia Fusion, however. Hagapun trying to play out of here where the mini health back is, getting as much of those healing grenades into the rest of his team as he can.
Yep. Able to be in a place to use the Immortality Field and keep it safe as well. Dragon Strike coming through. There's a minefield now from Sato. They're trying to move them over, and they do kind of trap them between a minefield and a Dragon Magic Arrow place, I guess you could say. Philadelphia Fusion.
BQB,
oh, the BQB
with the triple.
The configuration tank comes through, and now at the end of it, it's the amplification matrix to try to set up those remaining kills. Sato just trying to stay alive on the point here. It's just him and Carpe at the moment. Poco coming in fast, and
he hit the wall. Nearly died, actually.
That was a close one.
From hitting that wall. Florida, they're still holding on thanks to that configuration tank. So many ultimates used from the Philadelphia Fusion. They dropped absolutely everything. Carpe, though, yes, another Dragon Strike. Can he break this? Saya player gets Boombox on the entry.
He does push a lot of Florida Mayhem players out into the open here, so a chance for Philadelphia. Boombox does get rezzed. Neptuno bringing him back into the fight. And maybe an inopportune place here for Florida at the moment. They're going to engage with the Transcendence, actually going aggressive. EQO gets a kill on the Saya player. It's a good start. Hagapun low as well. Sato going in on that. They get BQB. Looking pretty good for Philly now. Florida Mayhem looking to see if there's a chance they can maybe re-engage. Zephyr just trying to keep the point alive for his team at the moment. But it might not be too long. Chris got the bloodthirsty Mercy kill actually onto Boombox, which I always appreciate, but man, Saya player in the end. It's more of a moral victory than anything, but Philadelphia Fusion takes the point.
Yeah, they will, but here we go. Let's see what these composition swaps go for each of the teams. Looks like it will be Rhine 3-3 for the Philadelphia Fusion, Winston 3-3 for the Florida Mayhem. I guess they want to, they're close enough to Swan's ultimate. No, they are going to switch off. They see all the swaps come in. Just a self-destruct available for each of our teams, as everybody else going to swap over except for Boombox. But that was actually a pretty good hold for the Florida Mayhem, considering that it looked almost clinical how efficient the Philadelphia Fusion's first push was before it fell apart.
Well, in the end, they only end up with about 30 more seconds on the clock than Florida did, approaching point B. Self-destruct now for Zephyr. No kills out of that one. He gets killed instead. Sato a little bit low. They find him in the corner. BQB finishes him off. Swan waiting forward now. He's going to go down. Both Reinhardt's out of commission as Philadelphia continues to push forward here. They're starting to get these kills. Chris, again, just trying to delay as long as he can with the Lucio on that high ground here. Him and Zephyr have to keep it alive.
Just being away on the walls. Carpe fully charged nearly.
Yeah.
And so they're going to have to figure out how they're going to get back onto this point. Transcendence might be the key.
You got the Transcendence out of Hagopun, and when that thing is down, Carpe is going to be very close to his Graviton Surge. He gets Swan too, fully charged. The damage is immense. And Philadelphia, Chris, trying to live as long as he can, but against a fully charged Zarya like that, there's only so much you can do. Philadelphia Fusion, much faster attack time here on Temple of Anubis.
That's right. Philadelphia Fusion makes up for their first attack by having a lightning quick attack onto B. They will have more than 3 minutes to get another tick as we head into Time Bank.
So we'll take a quick break and get at that when we come back. It's time for Time Bank. Philadelphia Fusion on the attack. They're only going to need a single tick on point A to win this map as Florida Mayhem finish point B in overtime.
Well, you want some monstrous stats, Doa. Let's
Sure.
talk about Carpe. 33 limbs out of his team's 51, so he's over 50%. 17 final lows and 1 death on Temple of Anubis. This is definitely a Carpe is carrying this team scenario.
Yeah, that's league finals Carpe numbers right there. Let's see if they can complete this map. I think they've got a pretty good chance to it. Over 3 minutes in the Time Bank. Carpe back on the Hanzo again. Worked well first time around, so why not? Florida Mayhem going for that hard point defense with the Bastion and the Batiste as well.
I mean, I agree with what they're doing right here, the Philadelphia Fusion. Yes, it took a while last time, but it was just some sloppy execution at the end. Their positioning up until that point was very, very good. Sato's back on the high ground. Yep. They are methodically choosing the places where Florida Mayhem can defend. They want everybody on the point before they collapse on them, and that's what they're going to get.
Yeah, they did such a good job of zoning them out of that side room. Saya player down. Carpe finds a headshot as he sneaks over into the high ground. Now Florida in quite a bit of trouble. BQB under a lot of threat here. Immortality Field comes out just at the last moment. Keeps him alive for now. But now Zephyr getting demaxed as he tries to deal with Carpe. It's not going to work. And Philadelphia Fusion rolling over the Florida Mayhem right now. The last members trapped back in the little room, and that's all you need if you're Philadelphia Fusion to tie up this series. They will take Temple of Anubis.
Gorgeous execution, Noah. Gorgeous. That is how it should have gone the first time, given their positioning. That time, they get everything they want. Very nice attack by the Fusion.
This is more the Philadelphia Fusion that we're used to seeing. Let's see if they can keep it up as we go into halftime.
The Overwatch League is brought to you by T-Mobile. High ground or low ground, T-Mobile has you covered. And by State Farm. Whatever life brings your way, State Farm is here to help life go right.
These two teams matched up in stage 1, and in the first battle, it was the Mayhem taking the upset over Philly 2-1. Currently, we're sitting at a tie series, 1 apiece at the half. Welcome back into the Blizzard Arena. We got a cool crowd. You guys are good people, right? Having fun? It's Saturday. Wake up. Drink your coffee. It's time to cheer. First match of the day, and it's the rematch as we touched on. But just like in the first matchup, it's the Florida Mayhem coming out and stealing the first map. They looked pretty good in control, running both Saya player and BQB at the same time now.
Yes, they absolutely did. I think it's a better showing compared to the last series as well, because it was a weaker Philly at the time. They were running Elk instead of Boombox. Elk's normally a main support player. This is in stage 1 last time. So we're seeing stronger versions of both teams now battling it out.
Yeah, both of them had to pick up the Brigida too, so they did have the versatility.
Now we see some DPS players, and Saya player, if you watched him in our inaugural season, one of the best Widows. His hit scan came to play once again. You saw him on the McCree here. Do we expect a lot more Cowboy in our games?
I think you're going to see a lot more DPS from the teams that aren't very good at 3-3 overall, and both of these teams have all-star DPS players who make all-star teams, so why wouldn't you run them on what they're best at?
Yeah, I completely agree with that, and I think it's lovely to see these players who are well known for their, the mechanical skills, like the Widowmaker, the McCree, like Sire player, being able to really flex into those roles and kind of win out in that role itself. But I do want to also give credit to Florida Mayhem, because their overall ability to play the triple tank, triple support hasn't really been downgraded as a result, like you see with other teams. They're still playing up to a reasonable level here, and statistics-wise, you can see him and Carpe pretty closely matched when it comes to the numbers playing McCree on Oasis.
Definitely a battle we're looking forward to in the second half of this series. But let's talk about game 2. We know that Saya player's in the lineup. Whenever that Widowmaker's on the map, you got to shut him down. And that seemed like the game plan for Philadelphia.
Yeah, I was really impressed with Philly, the way they set up this dive on Temple of Anubis coming onto Saya player, because they had a clear plan coming into this, and I think we've got a lovely clip here that actually shows this as well and showcases this. So firstly, you see Poco just behind him. He's just playing into him, trying to harass him. Saya player, or Sado I should say as well, is flanking around a lot of the times, and they managed to collapse onto him and take him out of the game pretty effectively. And they were doing this throughout the entire match. They know how much of a big deal Saya player is. This guy, he's a renowned Widowmaker player. When he's on that role, you need to be watching out. You cannot make any mistakes whatsoever. So it was a very clean, clinical play from Philadelphia. But what I'm most impressed at is how they've turned it around after that first loss. A lot of teams tend to crumble. Philadelphia is included in that list of teams.
Right, top of that list.
Exactly. And this is a team that can get into their own heads on a regular basis. So the fact that they managed to essentially recollect their thoughts in this second map, despite not having a kind of break in between, very impressive.
And they ran some interesting comps. You saw the Torbjorn coming out on defense instead of a Bastion. You saw EQO on the Junkrat, Carpe showing off both the Widow and the Hanzo in this game. What were your favorite parts of watching Philly here in game 2?
It's got to be Carpe. I miss the old Carpe, the click on your head Carpe, the 3-kill Carpe, none of this Zarya nonsense anymore. So it's nice to see him back on his hero, and I think that's actually going to go.
Here's a little sample.
Yeah,
where's your head, Bastion?
Well,
I mean, I don't even, is that Kanye?
It is a Kanye reference.
I'm uncool. I just know the internet.
Look at this critical hit accuracy. Basically, every third shot is a headshot for the man.
I mean, on average, I think a good game for most people is 15%, at least it is for me. So 29% is just absurd. It's just ridiculous.
If this turns into Carpe versus Saya, we're in for a treat.
Oh, yeah.
All right, well, guys, we got it in the pre-show. Hexagrams, you are going with the Florida Mayhem here. Bren, you and Sideshow were both going with Philadelphia. How does it play out after watching the first 2 maps?
I think I've already hit on the point about Philadelphia. This team, they can get in their own heads. And I think after that second map, I'm a lot more confident in my Philadelphia Fusion pick.
Okay.
I'm a lot more confident, honestly, because there's a real risk that they would have been 2-0 down right now at the half. It's happened multiple times to this Philly team, and they have the potential to sort of come back from that. We've seen them, Philly, we know they're a map 5 team at the end of the day. But after they've taken Anubis, I'm feeling a lot happier with my pick.
I think Florida won 2-1 earlier in the year, so I'm sticking on my pick, and it might not even go to map 5.
All right, there we go. 2-1 again, Hex?
Sure.
All right, there we have it. I'm saying 3-1 Florida. Florida fans, there's 3 of you. I heard you. Stay loud. They need your love. They're going for their second win of the season. We'll be back to see if they can get it done after this.
They don't just play for a team. They play for every fan, every rival, every moment, every match. And when everyone watching expects the best, they perform with the best.
Welcome back to the Overwatch League. Right now, Philadelphia Fusion, Florida Mayhem, all tied up 1-1 after the half. And I gotta say, Philadelphia Fusion, as dominant as Florida looked in map 1, Philly was like doubly so in map number 2. So going forward, I think now, it's on Florida to kind of bring it back and try to even things up as we look ahead to hybrid.
Well, and otherwise, besides that hiccup on their first attack on A, when we saw them in time bank, Philadelphia really showed how to beat some of these bunker compositions through deliberate positioning there on Anubis. This is a skill that is going to become increasingly relevant for teams the longer we go into this stage.
Indeed, and Elk subbing in for Neptuno. We saw them do this in their first series. What do you think, besides his hair?
Well, his hair is blue, his heels are true, right, Noah? So put Elk back in.
He plays support for me and you. Well, not for us, but for Philadelphia.
Yeah, just for them. But Elk coming in, he obviously was in their first match against Florida when they lost, but he was playing at that off-role position due to Boombox's illness. Now he's going to be much more comfortable playing the main support role again.
Right.
We know that he is really active when it comes to team comms and shot calling whenever he's in a roster, so maybe they're feeling like they need a little bit more of that to clean up some of the errors that they had in their first 2 maps.
They're going to get to do it on perhaps one of the most classic maps in Overwatch. We're going to Kings Row for hybrid, and it will be Philadelphia Fusion on the attack first, so they'll get a chance to set the pace for this one.
That they will. So we'll see what compositions we're going to get here from the Fusion. Looks like it will be another bunker composition for the Florida Mayhem on their defense.
Not too surprising. Carpe, we'll see if he can find a shot here. Ooh, that side player lined up, but the Orisa shield was in place. Over on the Hanzo now. And again, this is exactly what we saw in Anubis, right? Where we saw them play heroes that get to kind of zone the defense out.
Yeah, difference is we're not going to see Poco's Sombra here. Instead, a Soldier 76 take advantage of the high ground.
Yep.
They are going to set up a long-range crossfire here and then try and get Sato onto the point to contest. Contesting early, Boombox already with a pick onto side player. That'll be Rez.
I mean, talk about things people are known for today, man. Boombox known for those big right-click picks onto people on the other side. Agapun's Immortality Field down now. Florida Mayhem struggling a little bit. They've given 2 ticks over already. At some point, you got to fight on the payload. They don't want to do it shorthand, but I don't think Philadelphia Fusion's going to give them an option.
I mean, side player's so far away still, Doa. There's just not even really going to be a chance here. They just got to get out there and die on it.
Well, they throw down the amplification matrix and try to do damage, but all the damage comes in on them instead. That said, barrage from EQO to try to finish it. Hagopun does get the kill, but that's the payload activated for Philadelphia Fusion.
Yeah, very nicely done by Philadelphia. That first pick from Boombox absolutely opens up the map. They couldn't get the resurrection.
Yep. Carpe probably going to do a bit of a swap here as he throws the Dragon Strike into space. Somebody on Lunar Colony is going to be like, ah!
Yeah, it just goes forever through the universe.
I know,
You know how many dragons are out there flying through the space right now with how many we have in the Overwatch League?
How many people have been needlessly killed by random dragon strikes flying through the universe? This is what's going to cause the alien invasion. I'm telling you, man. It's coming. Florida Mayhem trying their best to stop Philadelphia Fusion, but Philly pushing right back again. Oh, that was a charge attempt by Swan, but he ended up going into the afterlife instead of into his opponents. Zephyr gets demeched here. The tank's out of the way, and Philadelphia Fusion free and clear to keep pushing on B. They were barely stopped at all.
I mean, this is excellent for the Philadelphia Fusion because both teams switching up their compositions, going over to the Reinhardt 3-3. But when Philadelphia wins the first fight, all of a sudden they have an ult advantage. So not only did they not get hurt by coming into a disadvantage off of their first push because both teams swap compositions, now they can just keep rolling. The snowball is enormous.
Yeah, absolutely. They've got the momentum and doesn't look like they're going to be giving it up anytime soon. Florida Mayhem with a last-ditch effort here, engaging with the self-destruct, but that's a pin on a BQB and a kill from Elk to finish that one off. Hagopun down as well, and things are not getting any better for Florida here at the end of B on their defense. Philadelphia Fusion going to keep moving. 5 minutes and 20 seconds to try to finish Kings Row.
This is such a long time, and they haven't lost a fight yet, so looking spectacular. It seems like Philadelphia Fusion has been slow to wake up, but now the Giant is sleeping no longer, they are just having...
That's Florida, man. Zato pushing forward again. Swan down immediately. He's been disconnected from his team pretty much all map long so far.
Carpe here, look at this, on the flank. You see Mayhem, they're just trying to get what they can, maybe stop the payload from moving a little bit. Carpe gets dispositioned by Chris. That's actually a very impactful late kill.
Yeah, that's going to reset Philadelphia
BQB still
for the most
alive.
part.
Yeah, it's going to reset Philadelphia. It resets
maybe
their,
not.
their charge at the very least. Like, they could have come out of that with a lot of Zarya charge, but Chris finds the boot.
They're going to push the payload a bit farther than disengage. Yeah, you don't want to take the fight until Carpe comes back, but you're right, Monty. I mean, now he's going to have so much less damage on that Zarya.
And now Florida's able to regroup as all 6. They're able to get a couple more ults. They don't have to deal with Carpe's massive amount of Zarya energy damage.
Whoa, Swan!
Wow.
Big Earth Shatter. Soundbarrier comes in, but not in time to save EQO. And maybe Florida Mayhem has a chance to equalize here. Zephyr knocked down.
Big
Maybe
Shatter.
they can get some kills, but the Transcendence from Hagopun in there just in time. Sato laid low as well, but can Florida finish him off? BQB's got the grab ready to go, but he might not need it. Zephyr eats Carpe's grab. Chris's environmental kill on Carpe. If that had not happened in the last fight, I think this round would have already been over.
You know, it just seems like Philadelphia are taking things for granted, that when they start to have an advantage, they play a bit disrespectfully. They turn their brains off a little bit. Because these are avoidable mistakes, and now all of a sudden there's a lot less time on the clock and things have become much more difficult for the Fusion.
Grab from BQB. Zephyr self-destruct, and he gets Sato with that one. Philadelphia Fusion sends Reinhardt as they try to keep pushing here. They're going to have to wait even longer. Now, the nice thing for Philly is they've got 3 minutes, but Florida's already used up a lot of time on the clock. Philly getting aggressive again, but it's just going to be the sound barrier, and the re-engage with Swan's Earth Shatter as Philadelphia, again, kept at bay. They got Boombox as well.
I mean, Philadelphia did pull 2 ultimates out of the Florida Mayhem for that because they chipped away their front line, forced the sound barrier engage. But it's not like Philadelphia is coming up on a big bank of ultimates that they're going to have in return. Elk is still quite a ways away from his sound barrier.
Interesting stat about Swan's Earth Shatters there, giving his team a big boost and chance to win the fight when he uses it seems like. Now Philadelphia on the attack again.
Hey, Carpe's got the grab, but the Hagapun's sitting there with the Transcendence, so easy counter available.
Yeah. And Zephyr ate the last one too, so you got to be worried about that if you're Carpe. Zephyr all over him right now. Saya player down early. It's a 6v5 for Fusion. Pushing forward now. They do have Zephyr pushed back a little bit. Carpe loves to wave. But he was waving goodbye to the Mayhem or goodbye to his chances of finishing this map. We'll see how this grab turns out. Grabs from both sides. The payload's still moving a little bit though. Florida Mayhem tries to stop it. Sound barrier comes in now from Fusions, but Zephyr already out of the mech on the Florida side. Looks like Philadelphia might. Everybody's so low health. Zephyr not in the Diva mech, and that will be that. Philadelphia Fusion, they get the job done, but with a lot less time in the time bank than I think they could have had.
Yeah, definitely that they could have had, but they still score a good time with 1 minute and 40 seconds left. So it's not a complete disaster. Philadelphia Fusion get it done, but like you say, with not as much time as they would have liked.
Quick break, and we come back to see what Florida can do.
Coca-Cola is the official refreshment of the Overwatch League.
Kings Row, where Philadelphia has set a pretty good time despite being held up a little bit on that last point. Florida Mayhem will try to equalize now as they are going to be going on the attack. And Sato having a bit of an up and down match. Like all of Philly, they look so good right up until the moment that they don't, you know?
That's a very good way to put it, though. I mean, they've been coming apart at some pretty critical junctures. I think on both last map and this one, they had a chance to put up just ridiculous time banks.
Yeah.
And then as soon as they got close, fell apart, whether that's a shot calling issue or concentration issue for some of their players, who knows?
I mean, after just rolling through A and B, it took them almost a full 4 minutes to take point C on that last attack. And it's generally not what you want. Florida Mayhem gearing up, though. We'll see what they decide to go with. A lot of DPS players in the lobby at the moment, but that could change, of course.
Well, BQB might be going back to one of his trademark picks, which is the Sombra play. This composition coming out. Quad DPS, I guess, would be a little bit of a surprise.
Indeed.
See if Hagapin stays on the Soldier 76. Meanwhile, Philadelphia Fusion, they're just going Rhine 3-3. Because they know that even if they lose this first point, this is going to give them a big ultimate advantage for the rest of the map. And as long as they slow them down enough, they're going to have a big advantage. So what is Florida going to do? Are they going to switch to 3-3 immediately? That might be a good idea.
Well, looks like they might stick with this. Hagapin on the 76. Pushing out now. Now EQO on the Philadelphia side is playing the Baptiste because you can get a little bit more done from range on defense than you can with that Brigida. So we do see that thrown in rather than her now in the 3-3 on defense a lot of times.
So this really has to work for Florida on this first push because remember, they're playing against this 1 minute 41 time bank. If they want to lead, they can't really fail on this first push because they're going to have to swap comps. And Philly's going to have an ult charge advantage once they switch to 3-3.
Well, they've got them bottled up in the hotel at the moment. Zephyr has them pinned down, 1 tick taken. Philadelphia breaking out now. They got to get something done. Zephyr getting closer to the barrage. Oh, but there goes Boombox. Florida Mayhem gets a 6v5 now. There's a knockup. Tons of damage coming in onto Philadelphia now. They got Swan, but they're going to need a lot more. Saya player just trying to click as many heads as he can. Philadelphia pulling back, regrouping, healing for one last ditch effort here. 2 ticks taken by Florida so far. There goes Chris, the Mercy out of commission, but Sato in a lot of trouble, and Saya player gets a kill there, just couldn't turn his shield. Enough angles to barrage to cover, but no, Poco manages to find the kill. Boombox actually on the Zephyr here. The minefield from Florida, not really covered.
Inside the hotel, and Carpe managed to live through it, which then left Zephyr. They can't complete the push. I think if they just had one more person on the point instead of trying to zone out Carpe right there, they may have been able to do it. They just came in and didn't get the elimination. So poor choice from the Florida Mayhem, and now that push has failed. They have to switch over to sort of a 3-3 right now. At least Zephyr onto the Diva.
The MP comes in. Boombox gets a kill on the Saya player anyway here. So Florida Mayhem losing somebody right off the bat. Sato, though, does get Hagapin, so Florida Mayhem reeling already in this next attack. Looking unlikely that this one's going to be successful. Now it's just all about getting those exit kills if you're Philadelphia Fusion. Can you stagger anybody? And they do stagger Chris and BQB.
And those are some nice stagger kills to get at the end of that one. Just more time. Swan now going to change over to the Reinhardt. It's up to Reinhardt 3-3 with BQB on the Zarya. This is really bad for the Mayhem. They had to make that push work. They didn't make it work. Now they're sitting in a huge ult economy disadvantage. Carpe's here with the grab.
That's right, use it as they come around the corner. No chance of that one getting eaten. Side player Swan down. And that is how you use a sneaky grab. Carpe will show you the way.
No chance for a denial when he puts it inside the statue.
Yep.
Good communication from the rest of his team to let him know when they were close enough to use that ability. Pulls the trigger, and Philadelphia Fusion gets away with a wipe. With only one ultimate used, Florida Mayhem just struggling to get up to a meaningful ult economy and only 45 seconds remaining.
If you look at this ult economy, it's certainly looking like a full hold for Philly. Let's see if they can complete it right now. Sato with the Primal Rage. They take out Swan already. Oh man, Florida in big trouble at this point. Pushing back, having to wait 30 seconds remaining. Any kills now, again, would be pretty devastating. They get everybody else out safely. Florida needs an incredible attack right here. They are going to have some ultimates to do it with, though.
I mean, they don't have a Graviton. Like, what do they get? They have some support also. So does Philly.
You gotta use what you got, right? Philadelphia Fusion, letting him get a little bit more time. They can't allow too much. There's the amplification wall, amplification matrix rather, down. Everybody trying to fire through it, but Zephyr sends his self-destruct in there. Oh, he's gonna get Sato. Philadelphia Fusion collapsing here at the last moment. Sound barriers go down, but can Philly hold on to this one? Needs to be a big self-destruct. Nobody gotten by Poco. He does get back in his mech, but they can't get back on the point. And Florida Mayhem get the payload going early. Haven't we?
I mean, yes, there's very little time for the Florida Mayhem, but Philadelphia Fusion, they didn't commit a sound barrier to that fight at all. They seem reluctant, you know, when there's only that one tick on the point, you have to decide, are we going to commit to this? Are we going to throw our support ults, try and reset their ult economy as well, because they're desperate? Or are we just going to get staggered at the end of this engagement because we didn't touch the point, and then they're just going to chase us all the way across the map while our teammates are respawning behind point C?
Now you lose your opportunity to defend early on point B, which is one of the better places to defend on Kings Row. And if you're Philadelphia Fusion, it's got to be frustrating. There's so many almost holds from them today.
Yeah, it's weird. It's very weird. They look so good up until, as you said, though, they don't.
Yep.
So it seems like
that's the thing.
The bad switch just gets flipped at the end of some of these engagements.
Yep. Florida trying to push forward again now. BQB does have the grab ready to go. He's going to go ahead and lob it in there. And can they get the kills on Sato and Carpe? That would be a big one. He goes Immortality Field down. It did last long enough to keep some people alive anyway on the Philly side. Graviton used. Ooh, the counter shatter from both Reinhardts, rather. And that means not a lot of follow-up from either team on that particular ultimate, but Zephyr does get the kill on Sato in the end anyway, so Florida Mayhem can keep pushing here.
Sticking close to the payload right now. Poco's going to get Team Max. This looks like eventually Florida should be able to win this in spite of the Transcendence.
That's right. Box Transcendence over now. Here comes the self-destruct again from Zephyr. Only gets the Immortality Field with that one, but still Florida, again, just scrapping, grinding their way through this fight. Philadelphia Fusion and their respawns, not enough to keep Florida from taking B. And now Florida Mayhem will have about 2 minutes to finish off the map.
And you know what's scary, Noah? 5 ults, excuse me, as we have a pause coming in right now, because Philadelphia Fusion used everything to try and prevent that point B take, but now Florida Mayhem's coming in with just an insane advantage. So even though they have a minute 57 remaining, obviously they're not going to make it there before they eclipse that minute 41 of the Philadelphia Fusion.
Right.
There's a possibility they could actually make this close, which is crazy.
I mean, if it does go to time bank, then all bets are off. Then anyone can really take it. So if the thing is now Philadelphia needs to go, all right, so that was a rough way to lose that defense on A. We didn't really get a lot done on B either, but this is where we make our stand. They can still stop them. Point C on Kings Row is tough to take no matter how much time you have on the clock, as we saw from Philly's perspective a little bit earlier. So it's not over yet as far as Philly's defense goes, but Florida Mayhem certainly looking threatening with that big bank of ultimates.
Yeah, and relying on just Carpe with the Graviton and maybe Sato with the Shatter is risky when there's so many support ults online for the Mayhem. They should try and use Rally now, push forward.
All right, Grav goes in. They got a lot of members of Philly in there in Florida.
I mean, there's no defense.
Grav, what do you do?
Yeah, what do you do? You're running a Batiste, right? He's got a damage amplification matrix. He doesn't have any kind of heal or sustain ultimate. However, now Philadelphia Fusion after that last fight will have the sound barrier at least.
Could be big. Swan goes for another Earth Shatter. Ooh, gets the pin onto Sato. A lot of damage. Sato separated from his team and taken down. Philadelphia scrambling again. Zephyr does get the self-destruct onto Poco. They've got their own sound barrier too. Phillies use everything they've got. They used both support ultimates and they couldn't win the fight. Goodbye, Boombox. That's it. And Florida Mayhem actually finish it.
I'm kind of speechless, though. Like that, we've seen a couple maps that I think legitimately should have been full holds for the Philadelphia Fusion, and Florida Mayhem somehow is getting back into these games.
It has not been clean Overwatch. We'll see who takes Kings Row when we come back. Time once again for Time Bank. Florida Mayhem getting it done despite being almost full held at the end of point A. They've got a minute to try to do what they can on attack first. Philadelphia Fusion with 1:45, so a bit more time, but it's like we were saying in that little pause, when it gets to this point, we're in Time Bank. 45 seconds doesn't make a huge amount of difference in a situation like this.
Yeah, and Florida Mayhem, they're going to go with what they had before, but this time they need to not chase the tanks. When you're running this kind of quad DPS, if the tanks aren't on the point, you want to force the tanks to retake. You don't go to the tanks.
They're going to make some swaps.
They
though.
should play 3-3.
That's what they're doing. Looks like it.
Yes.
Saya player over on the Brigida.
Play Ryan 3-3 because they want to fight the point. Now, because of the Batiste, you know, they're going to have a lot of issues if they get forced into that corner in the top right of your screen, because if they get back there, then the Brigida, they have to play into the Brigida, and that becomes very difficult because she has that stun.
Absolutely. It's a brawl already. Mortality field down. EQO dealing what he can. With those grenades, Carpe does D-Max Zephyr, so Philadelphia Fusion looking good on the defense so far. A little bit of stalling here, so they're going to get the later kill onto Swan. Now we're down. Scramble, side player died so late, it's not even going to be a full 6-man attack for Florida here as they try to get back to the point. 5 seconds, can anybody reach that? They got to send out Chris on the wrecking ball just to touch, but he gets booped away, can't get there. And Fusion don't give an inch to Florida.
Now Florida just playing for that time. Philadelphia Fusion, though, they've been so clinical in the way they beat these bunker compositions. Is Florida going to make a change? I feel like they should. They probably should try and play 3-3 on the defense, Winston 3-3. But maybe they think they figured out how to stop the multi-DPS flanking attacks from the Philadelphia Fusion that have stymied them so far on Kings Row and Anubis.
I think you're right about the 3-3 though, because you kind of need to play something that just sits on the point in this situation, because you can't give over anything. It's like one tick is going to win the map for Philly and give them the lead in the series. So you can't really, you don't have the luxury of being able to sit up on the high ground as long, you know, or as much as you normally would. So as we look at the loadouts here for each team, Florida Mayhem indeed going with that Reinhardt base 3-3. I think it's the right choice, as they do need to play this one a bit more aggressively on the defense.
Yeah, they
See what Philly brings.
They are still going to play the Ana, though, so they do want a little bit more pressure in the. They're going to play the Ana instead, just in case EQO is going to come out with the Pharah one more time.
Yeah, you definitely need to still be aware that the Pharah is a possibility. Philadelphia Fusion kind of playing around with some picks in the lobby. EQO maybe going to take at least a shot or two with that Widowmaker. Nope, swapping over the Pharah right away. Okay. They just need the one tick. That is it. So any picks would be huge here for Philly.
Yeah, they're not running with the Diva, remember, so that and play the point. They cluster up onto the point, and they're going to go back. They can't. It would be very difficult to run this composition, and now they're going to switch to a Reinhardt, but Reinhardt 3-3 with the Brigitte, so standard.
Yep, just going to try to be the juggernaut. Get in there. We'll see if they can. They've got a minute to do it. A little bit more time than Florida had on the clock. BQB a little bit low already. He has to back away. Re-engaging now. Sato the one. Under pressure here. Carpe getting a good amount of charge early on with that Zarya. Really got to watch. Ooh, Hagopun gets roasted. Was out from behind the shield, and that is going to be about that. Chris Solo, everybody else on Florida Mayhem just scrambling to stay alive, but they lost to Reinhardt. They lost everybody else, and that's going to be Kings Row going to Philly.
That's right, Doa. Time Bank once again sees a Philadelphia Fusion victory. They will go up 2-1 in the series. A chance to close it out.
It hasn't been clean for the Philadelphia Fusion, but when push comes to shove, they've been the ones coming through in the clutch. They've got the lead in the series. We'll see if they can close it out after this.
The Overwatch League is powered by Intel. Game, record, stream without compromise on Intel Core i7. And by Omen by HP, the official PC and display of the Overwatch League.
Philadelphia Fusion taking the lead on Kings Row, getting it done in the time bank mode on that map, and now they've placed themselves one map win away from taking this series.
It has been scarily close, though.
It has.
For a match that I think coming in,
Yeah.
you think with the Philadelphia Fusion full roster that this would have been pretty dominating, and it has looked really dominant at times for the Philadelphia Fusion, but then it seems like right at the last second things come apart at the seams, then we go into time bank, and now we're up Philadelphia 2-1, but it's not like a convincing 2-1, right?
It's like what you said. It's close, but it's not close for the right reasons. It's not close because the teams are just playing really tight and it's a great back and forth battle. It's more close because Philadelphia has a massive advantage and they kind of give it away at the last moment. So that's one thing going forward that I think we've seen. Philadelphia Fusion can be a really, really good team in this meta. They just need to not get too over-aggressive at the end of these defenses. Something is happening communication-wise, or maybe it's cockiness. Who knows what it is? But either way, they've given away a lot of points they should have held.
I think Philadelphia Fusion should consider themselves quite lucky that they managed to go 5-2 last stage in a meta that really didn't favor them. So now when we're coming into this meta, they need to do better to really show us that they are an elite team in this league.
I agree. Well, they're going to try to show us that by putting Neptuno back in, subbing in for Elk here, rather, for perhaps the last map in this series, unless Florida can tie things up and send us to the tiebreaker.
Would be a surprise, but given how that first control map went too, you really wonder if Florida can force it, whether they can actually take a win in this series.
Well, remember what we were saying kind of before the match began, where this is one where it's like, you know, this could be oddly close because Florida is playing better, and they're still not one of the greatest teams in the league right now, but they are playing better than what we saw in stage one so far, I think. Meanwhile, Philly, you know, having these kind of weird struggles, so that does add up to a bit of a closer match. We're going to Junkertown for our escort map, and we'll see if Mayhem can tie it up.
I mean, this is what you want to see between these two teams too. I know not everybody likes Junkertown, Doa, but I like Junkertown when I get to see Carpe versus Saya player. I'll tell you what.
Exactly. I mean, you can't say I don't like Junkertown and then be like, oh, I miss the Widow v Widow duels. Come on, pick one, all right?
Yeah, straw man, you pick one.
Yeah. That's my kind of argument. Here you go, Florida Mayhem on the defense. Just a straight up escort map. Philadelphia Fusion on the attack here. So, wouldn't be surprised to see them pull out the double sniper that we saw so much of in season number 1. But first,
a pause.
A pause. That's right.
Looks like Florida Mayhem is going to be going with a pretty common defensive strategy, which is the Orisa double sniper with the Roadhog. So things we've seen a lot before on this map, of course, trying to get the halt hook combos or halt people over an Orisa shield so that your snipers can headshot them very quickly. It is all about the pick compositions with the long sight lines on this point.
Now, Chris is the one that had a little bit of an issue with his setup earlier, too, that caused a pause in the last map. So, looks like whatever it is, the bug in the system or whatever, is still
No.
trouble.
No. It's user error. I blame Chris personally.
You know, the thing is, most of these pauses do end up being user error because there's a lot of hotkeys in you know, the operating system, in the game. How many times have we seen it where it's like a player's like, oh, my sound stopped working. It's because they hit the hotkey to turn their sound.
There you go.
You know?
There you go. I blame Chris.
Oh, yeah? I'll blame Chris, too. Sure. It's your fault, Chris.
So it looks like we'll get back into it shortly. No action
he
yet.
Too bothered by it, though.
Yeah, no action yet. I'm curious to see what the Philadelphia Fusion are going to do. They have looked really good with multi-DPS composition so far today.
Yeah.
Absolutely expect them to run something similar. Will we see the Pirate Ship? Will we see the Bastion come out?
Maybe. You know, other people see the referee. I see Team Rocket.
Is that right?
Yeah. That's right. Well, let's take a moment and listen in with Philly as they played one of the earlier maps.
Nice. Good full hold. Let's get it. Good discipline there. Not spawn camp and throw.
I thought just now that was Poco becoming an actual Pokemon. That's what he says. Poco. Yep. Well, guys, looks like it's going to be another moment until we get things figured out for Chris here. So we'll take a quick break, and when we come back, we will resolve this series. See you then.
We are back. That's right. It's Junkertown time. Hooray.
Florida Mayhem trying to tie up the series against the Philadelphia Fusion. We'll see if they can get the job done on our escort map. It's going to be Philly on the attack first, though. Florida Mayhem. The Junkrat.
And the
sniper
Roadhog.
battle.
Yeah, so there will be the Roadhog sniper battle. No bastions to be seen.
Carpe versus Saya player. This is what people wanted to see.
This is what I wanted to see. I don't really care what other people
Your
wanted
people.
to see.
It's more than just you. You can't take all the credit for wanting to see this. It's not all about you, Monte Cristo.
That's news.
The payload is moving. Philadelphia Fusion getting stopped under bridge right there. Carpe being sneaky, man. He knows his opponent is a talented sniper himself. But side player, ooh, on the left side. A narrow miss. EQO, though, does get the headshot on the Swan.
They won the barrier battle in the front line. Are gonna,
Oh, he got the Dragon Strike off just in time. Sounded like it was a bit rough. They get Sato with that, too. Here comes another one. EQO. His gets eaten, though, by Zephyr. And so Philly's Dragon Strike, not quite as in the end. It looks like Philadelphia is pushing forward here. Man, it's hard to hit Mercy. Stop moving, you annoying mosquito. There. Gets me that out there. And a bit of a feel-good shot on Zephyr at the end, if I know Hanzo players at all.
Yeah, Valkyrie turns out kind of a hard hitbox to actually land with some projectile heroes like Hanzo.
She's kind of a reverse mosquito, though, because she kind of uses like a long appendage to sort of put life into you, whereas mosquito's going to do the opposite.
That's true. I too
retract
agree
my
that
statement.
Mercy is a reverse mosquito.
Yeah. There you go. I'm sure they're going to add that to the hero page of the website. Quote, the reverse mosquito.
Unless you're Neptuno, the deadliest Mercy player in the league.
That is true. He does take the life out of people on a regular basis.
All right, Infrasight up now for Carpe. There's going to be a little bit of a distraction right now. Florida Mayhem had to change off most of their heroes. Philadelphia Fusion sticking with their double sniper composition.
Yeah, pressure onto Carpe here. As Florida Mayhem tries to separate the Fusion, take some people out, but no, it's going to be Boombox pulling out the whole hog. Getting a lot of damage done. Whoa, that'll do it. 3 kills for Boombox to finish that fight off. And that's going to be pretty much point B after they eliminate Zephyr. And they're going to get a nice stagger here, too. The Mercy melee kill.
Fun fact, you know, we like to think about Neptuno as the deadliest Mercy in the league because of how many eliminations he was able to get with his blaster during Valkyries in the first season of competition. But he actually has the most healing in total of any player in the Overwatch League.
Yeah, well, that's what a good main support does, right?
And also kills you with
a
Mercy pistol.
Yeah, you get the healing done, but you know when you've got a chance to take those shots, right? He knows, man. Here we go. Zephyr does get Sato, actually, with that self-destruct. Now the Dragon Strike comes through. Swan booped into it. Saya player gets a return kill onto Carpe, though. So Florida Mayhem doing okay on the defense for the moment.
Against Philadelphia Fusion, who are going to swap right now. But Fusion gets good use out of their ult economy. Obviously, they win through on point A. Don't have to switch their composition on B. And now we're going to start to see things balance out here as the Florida Mayhem will have swapped to the Winston 3-3 first, therefore have an ult charge advantage that they're going to take advantage of right now.
Go pun. Just gets stomped flat by Sato. Self-destruct comes in. No kills out of that one. Boombox down, though. So Florida Mayhem striking back, but only getting that 1 kill so far in the fight. That's going to be Philadelphia Fusion continuing to push.
Well, one thing we don't talk a lot about, though, is that when Sato gets the first kill in a fight, they still win about 95% of those team fights, and he actually has the 4th highest team fight win rate of any Winston who gets a first elimination in the league. So you see one of those fights where Sato stomps Hagapun, and you pretty much know how that one's going to go.
He's one of those Winstons where it is tough to keep your flex supports alive sometimes. There's a grab from BQB. Doesn't really seem to get a whole lot of people in it. I think he got nobody in that one. In fact, Philadelphia Fusion dropping back for just a moment before re-engaging with Sato's Primal Rage. Now, it's going to be the sound barrier as Florida Mayhem tries to keep pushing forward.
Hey, Florida had to use everything right there, though. They got very low value out of their sound barrier. Now Philadelphia Fusion's going to re-engage with rally armor.
Yep, they got a little bit more at the moment. Boombox has that Transcendence if he needs to use it. Going to get ahead and use it to keep his tanks alive. Hagapun down, so they do have the fight advantage here. And the deal has been sealed, it seems like. A Saya player and Swan go down. Carpe with a lot of charge, a lot of damage. diving through the window, and they are almost there with a lot of time left in the time bank.
I mean, Philly has made this look easy. I mean,
Yeah.
Florida Mayhem had got no value out of their ult economy advantage. They are feeling really bad right now. Meanwhile, Philadelphia Fusion has a Graviton Surge, is going to use in the spawn.
I saw this one before in Kings Row, but this time around, no kills onto Florida out of it. Although, no, I take it back. They get the kills, and they keep them from getting to the
Payload. That's a lot of time left for Philly in the time bank.
That is a ton of time. I think just under 3 minutes is where we ended for the Philadelphia Fusion. It will be 2:54.
Yeah.
And Florida Mayhem, no, we see this before, though. We've seen Philadelphia Fusion end with plenty of time in the time bank, and yet somehow their defenses have been crumbling and sending us into time bank. Has Philly really tightened up here on this defense? We will have to wait and see.
You know, when you look at Junkertown, traditionally it is a very attacker-favored escort map. And so for a team like Philly that has been kind of struggling to complete the defenses on some of the earlier maps, some of the maps that we do see a lot of defenses on, you got to wonder how this one's going to go. This one could go into the extra rounds pretty deep, I think.
Yeah, and one of the reasons why it is so attacker-focused is because this map is all about long sight lines. When you have a spawn advantage and your Widow can pop out of a spawn door on attack and then immediately try and kill somebody again, makes a big difference. Whereas the defense, even if you are going to play a Widowmaker, has to get all the way back into position from a far spawn room. So basically, on sniper maps, heroes that can spawn in sightline immediately obviously are going to have this tremendous edge.
Yep. So what's it going to be for Florida Mayhem? Chris teasing the Ash, and I suppose if you knew where the defense is set up, you could throw a stick of dynamite out there and then go back and swap. Could just be messing around with it, though. You never know what goes on in the lobby.
We do know what's going on with here, so not dedicating themselves to the double sniper composition. Instead, Florida Mayhem. Here comes the Bastion, and I think this is why they're playing the Sombra. They know that EMP can clear off the payload with the Bastions there.
Pirate ship is setting sail now.
Yeah, the EMP can also clear out the Immortality field from Chris's Batiste. So people may not be familiar with that interaction. It can be both hacked with a right click, and it can be cleared with an EMP.
Yeah. It is interesting that you can hack that Immortality field. Side player going high. Ooh, took a chunk out of EQO, but went down to 6 HP.
Who, of course, switched to Junkrat right as I said that, by the way, right?
Yeah, of course. Side player waiting it out. Under a lot of pressure right now. Hagopun just trying to get some kills, but no, it's going to be mostly Florida that has to head back. Boombox, extra kill into Hagopun. He's not getting out of there. So Philadelphia Fusion with a good stop there.
Yeah, this is exactly where you want the payload to be if you are the defensive team.
Hello.
Because you can defend right around this corner as Boombox, who has long been. He's going to start hitting his hooks, but this is exactly where you want the payload to be because there's an open ground. They have to walk through a choke point to start to contest the payload. You know, you can't really continue being on the Bastion at that point because you're never going to get the Bastion into position, and that's why they're going to switch off.
Yep. The halt and the hook. On to Sato, he's in a little bit of trouble there. Arisa pulled out. Hagopun got hooked himself though, and now the tire coming in from EQO. Trying to dodge some shots, finds Swan, finds a main tank, but BQB responding with a triple kill. 2 from the Dragon Strike and a headshot on Carpe to finish it off. Swan gets rezzed by Chris, and this push from Florida is still going.
It still is going. This Junkrat's going to try and put some damage in, but it's just not going to be enough. Going to make some changes right now. Florida Mayhem will slowly take the rest of this point, and let's take a look at this. BQB, double Dragon Strike, and here he is.
Yeah, well, right as Philadelphia Fusion was trying to avoid the rip tire too, so you're kind of caught between a rock and a hard place in that situation.
Yeah, no way to defend at the end of A either, and I think Philadelphia Fusion's smart just to try and take control of the high ground. Usually you want to play at the back end of the U. This point is shaped like the U, so if you want to try and actually set up a hard point with this Orisa, does make it easier for the back. They're going to try playing a little bit further forward this time and go fishing for a couple hooks.
No, why not? Ooh, that's why not, I guess. EQO gets hit. Goodbye, Sato. Took a lot of damage from that self-destruct, then BQB finished him off. So Florida wasting no time, and this defense did not work at all for Philly.
I mean, the snipers were exposed. So Saya player got a free line of sight onto BQB because the Orisa wasn't where the Hanzo was. The Hanzo was at the U point, and then the Orisa was playing forward with the Roadhog, so disconnects there.
On the side of the Philadelphia Fusion, I mean, it leads to EQO getting pick off early.
Why is there a boat on top of that truck? Where exactly are they going to boat here?
There's a lot of water in the outback, turns out.
I guess. I don't understand. I haven't seen any water there for a while. All right. Sato takes up the supercharger. Philadelphia trying to engage here. They're trying to use Boombox's whole hog to get the job done. They do a decent amount of damage. Swan probably not going to live too much longer here, although Neptuno trying to keep people up with that Mercy ultimate too. So yeah, Philadelphia Fusion just having a little bit of trouble finishing off these last kills, and Florida Mayhem getting a chance to get a few people back here. But now Chris in a lot of trouble, tries to escape. Meanwhile, BQB's Dragon Strike absorbed by Poco. So Philadelphia putting together a lot of great individual plays to stay on this point and delay for quite a while.
I mean, Philadelphia has no support there, so they've got no sustain. Meanwhile, the Mercy from Chris still able to get a lot of heals, so they are going to push through eventually the three tanks.
That was a good 30 seconds taken off the time bank by Philly at the end of that one, though.
Yep, they're going to get a nice elimination onto EQO at the end as well. And Florida Mayhem, look at this. They're pushing through. They may end up with a pretty decent time bank here.
Well, that's exactly what we said. I mean, this map is very attacker-favored. Florida Mayhem have put themselves in a great position to finish this attack.
Yeah, they are coming up on a lot of ultimates, too.
Yeah. Yeah, they are.
Philadelphia Fusion, they want to run the Reinhardt 3-3 right now, switching EQ over to the Brigida.
All right, Supercharger comes in. Saya player under a lot of pressure, trying to get away with the grappling hook. Barely does due to a bit of healing from his Mercy. Whoa, nice shot onto Neptuno. Florida Mayhem hardly stopped it all again.
Yeah, and look at this. Now they've got a Valkyrie, so they've got a lot of sustain to push through the end of this point. They have a Dragon Strike. If they can get a couple kills, they can throw that Dragon Strike into the spawn doors and really prevent anybody from getting out.
Yeah. BQB has the Dragon Strike. Sato. That shield just burnt through in a heartbeat. Oh man, they're all up in that room. That Dragon Strike could be big. A lot of people taking damage from it. They barely get away. They do manage to separate Carpe from the rest of the team, but as Poco strikes back onto BQB, Philly getting aggressive now. Hagopun, though, responding with a couple kills via that Roadhog. Florida Mayhem taking that defensive position down the stairs a little bit to try to fight back from. Self-destruct now. Ooh, we get stunned, and that's going to be a double from Poco. Hagopun now with that whole hog burning through shields as fast as he can. But Philadelphia Fusion with the respawns definitely having a little bit of an edge here. And as Hagopun drops, that's going to be Philly finally getting a bit of breathing room here on the point.
Yeah, Saya player just trying to get on the point so that they will eliminate there just by pushing people off with the whole hog. Poco with a patented Poco bomb, though.
Yep,
he's going to pick up a 2K at the end. Just it falls directly into the barrier from the Orisa. Just gets a little bit behind it.
Well, we know how accurate this guy's self-destructs can be. We saw it all last year. Probably going to see it all this year as well. Philadelphia getting aggressive on the defense now. Carpe, ooh, taken out right before he can use his grab. That's actually huge for Florida, but they're losing too many people here. That said, the payload almost gets there. Philadelphia Fusion scrambling to respond. They use that sound barrier, and there goes Chris. Ooh, close call for Philly, but they'll win the fight.
Did not have to use the sound barrier there. You have to say, they had such a big advantage in payload with Carpe respawning with a grav.
Yeah, I think it was kind of a panic move. You know, they lost Carpe. They kind of shattered their plans for the fight. And so Neptuno just trying to keep alive.
Side player walking up right now. Swan has the Earth Shatter. Florida Mayhem still, after the late Rhine 3-3 swap, working up to Graviton. They would probably prefer the eco push this and have another fight.
That's ideal. Hagopun down early. Florida Mayhem, we'll see how much they can get out of this one. Grab used by Carpe. Seems like they were kind of winning the fight anyway, but they'll win it extra hard now. What do you think about that grab? I don't know if that was too necessary either.
I think they could have saved it, especially because Hagopun was not likely to get a Transcendence, and Chris not likely to get another sound barrier at the start of this next fight.
They already had a killer too as well.
Yeah, they have a lot of other ults online though, and they have the trance available for BQBs. Grab it.
15 seconds remaining now. Getting close to Saya player's rally. Other than that, just the 2 tank ultimates, but one of them is the Graviton Surge. They've got a chance here. Philadelphia Fusion caught up in the grab. Can Poco bail them out with another Poco Bomb? He gets Chris. That's a start, but now the Shatter comes in from Swan. Florida trying to capitalize. BQB in a little bit of trouble. Hagopan keeping him alive as much as he can with that Transcendence. They get the kill on the EQO, but remember, you need to win a fight hard on this point. Those respawns come fast and furious, and now Saya player is down. Florida Mayhem's chances of keeping this series going are slipping away from them. Sato taken out, but they're gonna need, again, a bit more than this. The payload's still moving forward. Neptuno gets a kill into Hagopan, but now Pogo is down. Philadelphia Fusion, can they hold it? They've got the sound barrier from Neptuno. Maybe they can. That immortality field did work as well. Now the sound barrier for Florida Mayhem as they just try to stay on the payload, but everybody back from Philly. That Transcendence giving him time.
Carpe,
can they finish him off? He had his own shield, but they get the kill anyway.
They got him.
Wow, Poco on the payload, and another grab comes in from BQB. That might be what seals the deal in the end for Florida, who are deep into overtime, but it looks like they might be able to just barely get the kills here.
Oh, they will,
yes,
Dylan. They're going to finish it.
Wow, that was as close as it comes. But
Florida got the job done.
They absolutely did. Surprising, but Swan able to make it back in time. And that means Florida Mayhem able to take us into a time bank yet again. 1 minute to 3:54, however.
Yep. Still heavily favored for Philly. We'll see if Florida can tie it up anyway when we come back. Here we go again. Into time bank. Florida Mayhem getting it done. Philadelphia Fusion, they were so close to another defense, but yet again, Florida Mayhem pushed through at the last moment. So Philadelphia Fusion, yeah, big advantage on the time bank. 3:54 to just 1 minute of Florida, but it's another situation that maybe they didn't need to find themselves in with a bit tighter play.
You do have to give some praise to the Florida Mayhem for their tenacity in these situations. They haven't just given up. They keep on fighting.
Through and into time banks on 3 consecutive maps now.
Well, it's like we've been saying. They're certainly looking better this stage and certainly making Philly work for it. So they're going for the pirate ship again. Orisa shield protecting the cannon. That is Bastion. That is Hagopan. Moving forward now. Just trying to get as much distance as they possibly can.
They're trying to clear out the corner first. So this is where the defense typically creates this pincer movement. Boombox going to be fishing for hooks on the opposite side. Is he going to get anybody?
Oh, Hagopan in trouble. Yeah, Immortality Shield went down so fast. Swan trying to finish off Sato. They will do just that. Neptuno taken out as well. Florida Mayhem ends up pushing ahead through this fight. Poco is going to get out of the mech
3v3
in just a second here, but EQO still doing a lot of damage in return. That was a brawl, and I'm actually a bit surprised that Florida Mayhem got pushed back.
I mean, I like the fact that Florida Mayhem is getting pushed back, though, because it's 2 players. It's only a Roadhog and a Junkrat right there next to the point. EQO's going to take out Hagopan. That's a big limb.
Absolutely. They're just trying to get to the payload. They make it in the end. BQB throws in that Dragon Strike. We'll see if he can get any kills with it. Not quite. Swan with the knock-up on the EQO to finish that one off. And now BQB looking for more shots here.
Can they get the resurrection off? No! Zephyr's going to find Neptuno.
Yep, that's a big one, too. Mercy taken out right before the res happens, and that might mean Florida. We'll see if they can maybe take A, but no, the Boombox hole getting deep into overtime now. They need to stick on that. So Carpe coming up clutch, man. He's got to, but no. I don't know. Can he can't stop the payload. EQO's tire can't get there either.
They have Riptire from spawn. Not enough. Sato coming back on the wrecking ball right now, taking a peek at that payload. Doesn't want to contest it. Are they just going to give it up?
Looks like they will.
Contest there at the end of point A. Florida Mayhem once again comes up clutch and pushes it through.
Yeah. You got to be worried if you're Philly, even though we're deep into overtime. Taking point A is always big in time bank now. But Florida Mayhem needs to stick on that payload, and I guess they won't?
Okay. I don't know what happened there.
All right. awkward end of that round, we're not going to lie. It's like smiles on the face of
Boombox looks like Neptuno. Looks like he's pretty happy about whatever just happened.
They were in overtime for so long. So if you leave that payload for like a microsecond, that overtime fire is just going to immediately take away.
Was this a classic Charlie Niner?
A classic letter number combination. Is it true?
Okay,
let's
we're going
find
to take
out.
a look at this replay.
Yeah, let's see.
Okay.
All right.
All right.
Break it
Zephyr's
down.
on it. BQB's there. Okay.
Oh, this is going to be embarrassing, isn't it?
No, it is.
I got a bad feeling.
Sato.
I got a bad feeling about this one, Monty. Oh, Zephyr. Oh, no. Oh, no. Oh, no. No, you can't let that happen.
Well, there's an unforced error if I ever saw one.
Like
Just
the wind,
casually,
away from the payload.
Casually walking off the payload.
It's like, I don't think it's too important.
I got to cover this door with my defense matrix. Don't worry about it.
Ooh, I can get another 2% towards my ultimate. Well, you hate to see it. Florida Mayhem with a great push that turned not so great real fast.
That's such a bummer because I feel like they were in a good position.
That said, Philadelphia Fusion still needs to take point A, which can be difficult sometimes on this point. Not often.
Florida man walks off payload.
Yep.
The greatest crime in Overwatch.
Yep. It's the cardinal sin of Overwatch. Philadelphia Fusion, all they need to do is take point A and then just push a tiny bit farther to win this series. And if Florida Mayhem loses because of that, that's going to feel super bad.
Okay.
Oh, run away. Oh, Boombox can't stay alive. Set flying.
To be fair to Boombox, you do not expect all of the members of the Florida Mayhem to be playing that position. You expect multiple of them to be flanking. So he thought he could come around and possibly fish because usually the Roadhog is positioned on the opposite side of the map. So he didn't get fooled there.
Just sticking with the team now. Trying to find those hooks perhaps off of the right click, the halt from Sato.
Carpe is deep behind enemy lines with Poco right now.
Yeah, that's right. Ooh,
getting his
takes
head
a shot
at.
though. They know where he is. Side player's got his number. Looking for more shots. Another pull on Sato. He got hooked. Can they keep him alive? Neptuno healing as fast as he can. Hagopin walking forward. Poco the one getting popped out of his mech, but they do get the kill on the BQB. Now the Philadelphia Fusion with the edge right now. Chris gets the res though. Wow, right in the faces of Philadelphia Fusion. Now Swan down, and it was ski shooting between Chris that takes out Carpe with the blaster. Philly still trying to push forward, but it's really only a few members of Florida left.
Yeah, there's only 2 or 3 of Florida's players there able to contest the point right now. They're going to have to fall back and try for another defense. I guess at the start of point B, will they let the doors open or will they try and get in first?
EQO not going to let him through the door. He gets another Dragon Strike back in his face again, but it's okay. Nice shot on Hagopin as he comes through the window. That was insane. Point A taken. Philadelphia almost there. Mere meters away from winning this series.
Yes, they are, and now they're going to push forward just a little bit more. Anybody even there to contest the payload? Swan is trying to get there on the Wrecking Ball, but no.
No, Swan can't get there, and that's going to be Philadelphia Fusion winning this series.
Aggressive Philadelphia Fusion, 3-1, avenging their defeat at the hands of the Florida Mayhem from stage 1.
Yep. Wow. Well, that was a series.
It sure was.
It was a roller coaster from beginning to end, that's for sure.
It was a bit sloppy. You know, at times, though, I really think that once Philly gets into form, because they really showed a lot of brilliance at moments in this series, and it's just about evening out that consistency.
Yeah.
The highs this team is capable of is very impressive.
That's the thing. It's if you look at what is fixable on this team, it's not a lot to worry about. It's just a matter of kind of staying focused, really. I mean, if anything, you can blame them for a bit of a lack of focus at the end of some of those rounds, and that's something that's definitely correctable.
Absolutely.
Quite quickly.
Florida Mayhem as well, looking a little bit better with this week with their recent experiment. Did have 2 tough opponents in the London Spitfire and Philadelphia Fusion.
Yeah,
so we'll see what happens when they aren't facing teams in the 10+ category. I think Spitfire's technically 11th place right now.
Yeah, indeed. Well, for now, Mika's standing by with Poco to get some thoughts on that series.
Thanks, guys. Everybody give it up for Poco. Give him a round of applause. Ooh, that was a loud round of applause. Congratulations. So congratulations on your win today. And I know I love a good Pokebomb. I know everyone out there loves a good Pokebomb, but we've been seeing you, flex onto different few heroes. And how's it feeling getting to dip your toes into a new hero pool?
It feels weird. I don't know. I'm like kinda one-trick diva, so every time I'm allowed to play some other DPS, I'm like, why not?
Well, it was successful, so congratulations. And you guys are coming off of a kind of tough win to New York, but obviously you bounced back mentally today. So can you walk me through what it's like to prepare yourself to get back into battle?
I mean, we knew New York were like a really tough opponent, so we were like, okay, let's try our best. But well, yeah, we didn't really mind the hard lose. We were like, okay, guys, we need to win against Mayhem, and we did well today.
Well, congratulations. You thought about it, you did it, and that's proof in the pudding. That's all we have down here for Poco. Once again, give him another round of applause. Now we're going to send it back up to Monty and Dara.
Thank you, Miko. We're Poco stoic, but I think they're going to be pretty happy. A win is a win at the end of the day. And yeah, so speaking of winning and happiness, we've got some sounds of the game to listen to. Let's revisit just what Philly was saying during that C9 at the end of Junkertown.
How much up bottom left? Oh, never mind.
High down. I'm gonna have Valk now.
Yeah. Sit down.
Oh.
I guess.
I forced it, guys.
Nice boombox.
It was all me.
Well, there you go. Sometimes you get a freebie, I mean, you're like, all right, we're gearing up.
It was all me.